theories about market making and do a technical analysis. When you have some things that are working in technical analysis, usually it's because in some way, sometimes without knowing it, they use theories that are used by market makers.
Okay.
You know, because a market maker is the only person that is always on the market. Because people, they always, you know, it's funny because when you watch teachers, you know, people that are doing trading education, most of them, they say variations of the same thing. And they will tell you, we want to follow institutions. But why? Why would we want to follow someone? I work with those institutions. I spent weeks with them. They come and they trade for 3 hours in one specific equity, or 1 hour in one future contract. And when they're done, they leave the market and they're not there anymore. And you have no way to know when they come. 2, you have no way to know the quantity they will buy. 3, you have absolutely no way to know if they're initiating a position or exiting a position. So what's the point of following those guys? Those guys are just like you and me. They come and they trade on the markets, and when they're done, they leave. The market makers never leave. They're there all the time because they're required to be there. So it's really interesting that most people, they will be like, oh, you need to follow the institutions. You need to follow the big funds. You need to follow the big guys. You need to follow the big money. But those guys, they don't own the market. What we want to do is to follow the guys that own the market, the guys that are providing the liquidity, the guys that even if there is no business, they need to be there because they're required to, because they sign agreements with the exchange that put them in a situation where at any time they need to provide liquidity. They can be a massive crisis, they can be a very big news event, they can be anything. They will need to be in the market. So this is why we focus on those guys and not on the major hedge funds, and no, of course we want to know what the hedge funds are doing. We want to know how they work. We want to know things about them, but we don't want to copycat them. If we want to trade, we want to trade with the guys that are always making money, and those guys are the market makers. And good news is that we have an advantage over those guys, because those guys need to be in the market 24/7, even during the Globex session, even when there is nothing, even when you have news. But us, we don't need to do that. We can just trade when we think there is an opportunity and use the same strategies as they do, without having the trouble of being there 24/7. You know? But when you watch education, when you read